Hi, 215. So the last chapter of the week is chapter 13. And chapter 13 is a short chapter. So just bear with me, okay? It says, chapter 13 is sometimes people don't answer because they didn't hear you. Other times it's because they didn't want to hear you. Though my legs are tired, I run faster up my driveway, trying to put every feeling into words for Jason's cards. Fierce, hard, my sneakers slap against the tar. Swift, brisk, I take off across the lawn. Squishy, springy. But as I round the far corner of the house, my feet slow to a walk. Dad is kneeling in the garden, his back to me. Watching him, I think of Christy at her dad's for the weekend, and Melissa in California with hers. Part of me wants to run up and hug Dad from behind, or cover his ears with my hands, like I did when I was little. Guess who? I'd say, and he'd guess everyone but me. Even though we both knew that he was pretending, because he would give impossible answers like Queen Elizabeth or Little Bo Peep. Before I can decide what to do, Dad spots me. Look, Kath! He twists a ripe tomato from the vine and holds it up to me. Isn't it beautiful? I'm not sure how many people have ripe tomatoes yet. I walk over and take it from him. I bet we're the first. Dad's always proud that we have tomatoes before anyone else. That's because he starts the seeds in the pot on the kitchen windowsill, while snow's still deep in the ground. I study the tomatoes closely, drawing it in my mind. It's so smooth, I'd need a dense color, layered until not even a flicker of white paper showed through. Alone, each of my colors would be too bright, but blended, I could make it look real. People usually think that tomatoes are red, I say, but they're more red-orange with yellow-orange streaks. And there's even the smallest hint of purple here in the creases. Purple? He looks over, his forehead lined with concern. Is it mold? It feels stupid to be jealous of a tomato, but sometimes I think Dad likes them more than he likes David and me. No, it's just a shadow. Oh, good. Dad turns a frilly leaf to check the underside. Standing above him, I'm startled to see more gray hair than brown on the top of Dad's head. When did that happen? Have you heard from Melissa lately? He asks. I got a postcard last week. Her father took her to Disneyland. I roll the tomato between my hands, the prickly stem poking into my palm. Maybe you and I could do something special too. Just the two of us? He sighs like it's the millionth thing that I've asked him to do today instead of the first. You know I can't afford something like that, Catherine. I don't mean Disneyland. Just something me and you. Dad smiles, but it's a worn-out smile that doesn't light his eyes. I'm sorry, honey. I've been dealing with doctors and customers and staff all week. I really need to stay home today and be quiet a while. Watching him pick another tomato, I mouth the words at the back of his head. But what about me? Maybe we could cook spaghetti tonight. He places his tomato with the others in the basket. These would make a great sauce. Before I can answer, Mom yells, It's 3:00! David frowns. I'm sorry, not David. Dad frowns at his watch. I'd really like to finish up here first, he calls to her. I'm almost done. In the kitchen doorway, Mom crosses her arms over her stomach. David has his shoes on already, and I have paperwork to do for my meeting on Monday. I'll be there in a minute, Dad shouts. The sound of Mom slamming the kitchen door makes me cringe. I'm torn between wanting to yell at him for choosing David over me and wanting to cry that he's choosing tomatoes over Mom. Maybe we could go to the mall. You heard Mom. I have to take David to the video store. Do you want to come with us? No, thanks. Maybe we could do something afterward? Someday soon, he says. I promise. I drop my tomato in the basket with the others. I know he's just promising to stop me from asking again. Walking away, I turn once to check if Dad's watching me go. Look for me. Staring at the back of his head, I imagine him turning left and right, searching. Instead, he picks up another tomato. All right. And that's the end of the chapter. So Catherine's feeling kind of down, right? Because her dad, she wants to hang out with just him, and he feels like, you know, David gets picked over everyone, and he's picking his tomatoes over her mom. So it's not really a good feeling when you feel like you're not a priority to someone, right? And you want to spend time with them. So I think you can connect with Catherine a little bit there. So this time your activity is going to be for those 5 chapters. So we read this week chapter 9, 10, 11, 12, and now 13. So make sure you look back at our class dojo page to see the response question for all 5 chapters together, because that way you'll only have 1 response a week. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this week. See you next week.